Hi, in course 17, we're going to make this bed caddy, and it's designed to hang off the side of your bed so that you can just organize and put things in there, whatever you have in bed with you. So whether it's a phone or whatever it is. So this is designed with a longer flap that actually sandwiches in between your two mattresses, or if you have a platform bed like mine, you kind of just push the longer flap into or in between the bed mattress and the actual platform bed. And you actually also add these side tabs that can hold your wireless charging cords. So it's designed with a larger pocket and then a medium pocket, and then in the front you decide if you want to do 2 pockets, 3 pockets, however many you want. I actually show you how to do that in the tutorial. So what I do is whatever I have in bed with me, like I'm in the middle of looking at a journal and some really boring printouts, right, that make me fall asleep, instead of just leaving them on the floor, I pop them into my bed caddy. And then I have a book as well that I've been meaning to read through, and I keep it here. So it's just handy. And sometimes I throw my glasses in there as well. And I always like to keep tissues with me. And I just put whatever it is at the time that I'm really working with and reading or looking at. So it's your choice, of course, whatever fabrics you use and what colors you use, but I wanted mine to be really plain so it didn't stand out, or like, I shouldn't say plain, but like a neutral color or a solid color. Again, you can do anything with this. You're gonna need about a yard of fabric, and it's up to you. You can even do different patterned pockets, totally up to you. But it is designed for your bedroom to hang off the side of your bed, and some people use it just because they love to be organized, and others use it because they have a little space, or like just not enough room in their bedroom. So whatever the reason, it is an organizational piece, and it does add a nice decor to your bedroom. So download that super simple pattern and let's get going with this one. Let's begin this bed caddy. I want to explain to you how to use these patterns for this particular project. The great thing is that you only have 2 sheets printed out, and your main pattern is this one right here, which you don't have to do any cutting to. So bed caddy pattern 1, no cutting. But then bed caddy pattern 2, you're going to cut along this line right here, and you're going to tape it to pattern 1, and I'll show you how. So using your paper scissors, you're going to cut along this line, and I give you a note there telling you the same thing. So right here I tell you, after I cut it, cut along this line and tape to pattern 1, matching the dashed lines together. So all that means is you're going to take this here and you're going to tape it to bed caddy 1. Right here, and it doesn't really matter if you overlap it a little or whatever the deal is, if you even left your black line a bit visible. So I'm going to keep it in place and tape it. Let's hope it doesn't move. Sometimes it moves because the static of the tape pulls up the paper. I'm going to flip it over, tape these back. Now this pattern is ready to go. This full pattern here is going to be used for the measuring the fabric, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that. This here, all you have to do is cut out this rectangle, and the rest is scraps you can get rid of. So I managed to create these patterns so that you print less, use less paper, and you can use them efficiently. So this you no longer need. And you're going to make this whole bed caddy using just these 2 pieces. So the fabric that I've chosen for my bed caddy is a really nice basic neutral cotton. Slightly thicker than regular cotton, like the quilting cotton. So it's like basically a blend. And you can see I've already cut it, but I'm going to show you how to cut it. I've cut all my pieces, and let me show you how I did that. So when you use the first piece, okay? Let me zoom out a bit, okay? When you take this large piece right here, what you're gonna do with this is you're gonna measure this along your selvage edge, and I actually left mine on. Typically you cut it off, but for this project, it's actually gonna be hiding inside the seam, so I left mine on. So along the selvage edge, and you did buy about a yard or yard and a half of your chosen fabric. You can use different colors, you can use prints. I decided to keep it really a neutral sort of beige or tan because I know that I have a comforter in my bedroom that's really bright colored, so I wanted to keep this really plain. Anyway, back to what I was saying. You're going to take this and you're going to lay it out this way, right? And you're going to measure it 3 times across to have the base of your bed caddy, meaning you're going to put it down here. All right, you're not going to do any cutting, and if you need, okay, you can make a little mark with a pencil right here, right? So you'd mark here, all right, and then with your marking right there, you're going to lift, right, with your marking there, and you're going to place this in place here, and then you're going to make another marking here, right, and then you're going to lift, and you're going to place here next to your other marking. You're going to make your last full marking on your fabric, so full mark, okay, and obviously you'll know where to cut. All right, so you're going to have your basic body, okay, the bed caddy body is 3 of these lined up. So remember, as you're placing them down on the fabric, you'll place it, pin it so it doesn't move, and give yourself a little mark here, and then mark the bottom. All right, so you're going to continue that line. A little mark here, and then mark the full bottom. And again, this on the third one, full line, and you'll have your long rectangle. And what you're going to do is you're going to cut 2 of those out. Okay, so you're going to have your long rectangle, 2 of them cut out. Okay, so it's going to be the front and back of the bed caddy. So when that's cut out, what you're going to do is you'll also cut out 2 of these side loops. You don't have to have 2, you can have 1, or you may choose not to even have the side loops. That's your call. I'm going to add 2 just because. All right, and then what you're going to do is you are going to, for your first pocket, you are going to line it up again, right? You're going to mark, and then make yourself a little mark here, like 1 or 2 marks with pencil. Remember, never marker or pen, and you're going to slide it down 3 inches. Okay, so from when your mark is, you're going to measure with a tape measure or a ruler. You're going to measure 3 inches down, and then you're going to draw your other straight line, and you're going to cut. So basically, your first pocket is this full pocket, and you're going to slide it down 3 inches. Okay, so however you want to do it, there's a few ways you can do it. You can actually draw the box here, and remember, you're always tracing and cutting on the wrong side of the fabric. So you can draw and trace your full box, and then you can measure 3 inches down more, right? You're going to measure 3 inches down, mark, okay, this is moved, that's why it's not showing 3 inches. You're going to mark, okay, 3 inches, and you'll cut. Okay, so first pocket is this plus 3 inches. Your second pocket is this full pattern cut out, okay? So your second one, just trace your pocket like this full piece that you use for the full body, you're just going to trace out, all right? And that's your second pocket. That was easy. And then your third pocket, or your 3 pockets in the front, what you're going to do here is, again, using the same pattern, is you're going to fold on the dotted line. And again, you're going to use this as a template or pattern. Essentially the same thing, okay? You're going to lay it down. You're going to trace around it on the wrong side of the fabric, and you'll cut it out. So when you're done, you'll have your 2 large bodies of the bed caddy, and then you'll have 3 pockets. a large one, a medium one, and a small one. Large, medium, small. So just to review, the large one was this pattern here, plus 3 inches. So it doesn't matter if you do from the top or bottom, plus 3 inches. The second one was this one fully cut, traced and cut. And then the third one you fold in half, or the smallest pockets, and you use that as a template. So you'll have your 3 pockets, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and then you'll have your front and back, or your 2 bodies of the bed caddy. And if you choose, you can have your side loops. I've chosen to add 2. So your next step, after you cut out all of your fabric, is we are going to make hems on the tops of all of the pockets, the front pockets. So here's how you do it. I'll start with the smaller one, and I'm going to, with the wrong sides facing me, just double checking. This is one of those hard ones where I can't tell which one is the front, which side is the front. I'm going to measure about 1/4 inch, so I have my seam gauge here, and I'm going to put it at 1/4 inch. Now, if you don't have one of these, it is not a big deal. You can use just your regular ruler, and you can use that as to measure about what 1/4 inch, or where 1/4 inch is. So with the seam gauge, it's great, and not necessary, but great, where I'm just going to make it a tiny bit bigger, where I'm going to fold, right? And I'm going to measure it this way. Right, so I have about 1/4 inch there. And I'm going to iron it down. And as I go, I'm going to give it a measure. I'm not going to leave the iron there forever, because it can burn. But I'm going to gauge and measure to make sure my hem is not getting any bigger. Right? And I press. I leave it there just for a little to let the steam do its work and to hold it down. Then I'm going to repeat that process with another 1/4 inch. And I really don't even have to measure it this time. All I do is fold this part over. And I press. So now what you want to do is you want to add this hem and create this hem for all 3 pockets, but you want to keep this hem down. So you can pin it down, but this time, just because, I'm going to use my clips. Straight pins are exactly what you should use and can use, but I like to sometimes when I'm working use clips. So I have my clips here, and I did add them to the resources link. If you really like them and you want to try them yourself, you can. When I'm doing projects that for some reason are like long lengths of fabrics, for some reason I just turn to the clips. Not sure why, but I do like them. Again, using pins is just as great as well. All right, so I'm deciding to use these. And I'm going to repeat this process to the rest of my tops. Actually, since I left, let me show you why. Let me explain to you why I left the top area here, or the selvage edge, because this measures 1/4 inch, okay? And it's clean and it doesn't fray, and no one's gonna see it. But if you did leave it on clothing that you were making, it wouldn't look right, or really anything that you're making, it wouldn't look right. But this is kind of like my cheating method. I left it here because I knew it would help me out and I didn't have to measure. And listen, when you're sewing and creating a project, the more efficient you are, why not? So there I go, my clean 1/4 inch. Another reason why I left it. I'm gonna use my little handy dandy clips. Hey, got red there and here. And I'm gonna do the same thing to my 3rd pocket. Now that I have all of my hems in place and ready to be sewn, I'm going to sew it at least 5 or 6 stitches per inch across. So this is the closest that I had matching thread, and I'm completely fine with it. I did not have a perfectly matching thread, and that's okay. So I'm going to start from the back so the knot is hidden, or even better, you can start from the inside so you don't see the knot on the inside pocket. But this just may get sandwiched into the hem, and I'll show you what I mean when we sew this to the front of the body. And I'm going to make small stitches all the way across, and I'm going to be feeling through for this edge. I could feel where that is. And I'm going to work my way across. Now, of course, if you prefer to machine sew it, you can do that as well, if you are a machine sewer. And I'm going to make my way down this way. And it does give it a nice handmade look. I move my clip as I work. I've sewn my hems in place, and I'm going to push them aside as I work on my side loops. And what you have to do with these is you have to iron them and press them in order to create them. And they're actually really simple. Here's how I do it. I actually turn over each side like this eventually. I'm going to show you how to do it together and then put them together this way. You could do it like that, right? If you could just do exactly what I did, just sew it right in place. But if not, okay, here's what you do. You just fold over a tiny bit, maybe a little less than a quarter, and give it a press. I give it my good shot of steam. Then I do the opposite side, right? And then, keeping these down, I fold the whole thing in half. And I'm going to give it a good press. I'll let it just sit there, and I'll get my clips ready so that it doesn't really open up. And as you've guessed, you're going to have to sew down this edge. You can stay close to the edge for this one. And you're going to do the same for the other loop. Okay, I'm going to push this side down. Not too much. Just to form a quick crease, flip it over. Do the same here. And then you're going to fold it all in half. Matching up the edges, nice and even. And give it a shot of steam. Okay. And there we go. I'm going to bring it together. Put a clip here and a clip there, and it is ready to be sewn. So I am going to give it a nice straight sew across the edge here so it stays in place, and eventually it will fold and create a loop. And now, because we folded the edges, the loop is nice and clean and there's no raw edges, and it won't fray. With my side loops sewn, I'm going to push them aside, and I'm going to take one of the bodies or the larger pieces of the Bed Caddy, and with right sides looking up at me, I'm going to work with one end. All right, so I'm going to work with this end right here. And again, the right side has to be looking up at you. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your largest pocket and you're going to match it up to the bottom. So this is the large body, again, of the Bed Caddy. And with the bottom, we're going to work on the bottom, with the bottom. You're going to take your largest pocket and you're going to put it on top of this Bed Caddy. And you're going to match up the sides and especially the very bottom. All right, so you're going to match that up. Okay, without it moving, you're going to take your medium-sized pocket and you're going to lay it right up on top. Okay, you're going to match it up as best you can. And then you're going to take your smallest pocket and you are going to match up the edges, the sides and the bottom. Look at this fraying, but I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to try and I'm going to ignore it. I'm not going to cut it off. So basically, you can see your bed caddy already coming together, right? It's like your large pocket, your medium pocket, and then here we're going to sew a few straight lines through this, okay? So that it forms your 3 smaller pockets. So first I want to hold it in place. Again, I'm going to use my clips, but there is nothing wrong with using your straight pins. It's completely the same thing. But for some reason, I love these clips sometimes. I just like using them. They work well and they have a great hold. Okay, so these are all sewn in place. And sewn in place. They're all held in place with my clips. And what I want to do is I want to actually put in my side sewing lines here. Okay, so you can decide if you want your front to just be 2 pockets or if you want it to be 3 pockets. I think I just want 2 smaller pockets, but you can have 3. It's up to you. You can even have 4. You can even make one like really tiny and it can hold your pencils. So here's how you're going to do this. You're going to mark it super lightly with a pencil. Okay, so I only want one directly in the center, so I know this is about here. My center is about 7. I'm going to be as light as possible. This is where chalk pencil is preferred, but of course, I don't have it on hand. So I'm using a pencil, really light enough for you to see. And I'm going to put a straight running stitch right down this line. Again, you can do like a line here and here, so you have 3 pockets. You could do one really close to the edge. Even with another one in the center so it holds pens or pencils. You could do a skinnier one for your glasses. You could do whatever you want. I know that I don't need those small pockets and I don't have such small items by my bedside, so I want 2 larger pockets. So this is up to you how you design it. So then what you're going to do is you're going to put a nice straight running stitch there. And I'm going to do that right here together. I'm going to start in the back and make my way up. If you find going through these fabrics is a bit challenging, you can put your thimble on, your thumb, so you can press the needle through much easier. I have my running stitch complete. And now what we're going to do is we are going to put the back on the front of this bed caddy so that we could turn it right side out just like a pillow. But before we do that, I want you to take your side loops and pin them in place. So my side loops I've designed to land right up here. So what these side loops serve for are for, let's say you like put your iPad in here and it's charging, you can loop your cord, your charging cord, right through it so it kind of stays in place. If you feel like you don't need it and you just don't mind it hanging, you don't need these. But they are a really nice element to have. And actually, sometimes what I do with them is I actually loop my reading glasses through them. So that's kind of cool too if you wear glasses or anything you want to loop through. So you're going to fold it in half, right? And then you're going to place it wherever you want it. I know I want mine like basically up here on top of the largest pocket. So I'm going to put it right in place. I'm actually going to make it stick out a bit. And for this, I am going to use pins because I am going to have to sew over it and turn it right side out. And I just feel a pin will keep it in place better than a clip. A clip will get in my way for that reason. So I'm going to place that one right there. And then exactly on the opposite side, I'm going to fold this in half. I'm going to kind of eye it. Eyeing can be good, but it can also be a disaster. I think for this one, it is not a disaster. We're going to be okay. Okay, that's about where. And notice how I'm putting my stitching marks on the bottom. I want my top, when I look down from my bed, to be clean. But it doesn't matter if you see that side. I just want it to be clean. So I'm leaving it that way. And again, I'm going to put it at about the same point as this one. And once it's pinned in place, I am ready to add the back of the Bed Caddy onto the front here. Okay? All right. So I have to lay the back over this front. So we can't do that with the clips, or even if you had pins. The pins you could possibly leave, but let's move them out of the way. So right sides and right sides touching, all right? So that means you're going to, just like you've created pillows, make the right sides touch. I'm going to carefully remove these clips. I'm going to add them again once the back is on. And I'm going to line this up as neatly as I can. So right sides and right sides. I'm going to match it up as neatly as I can. And I'm going to continue with the clips. And I'm going to make sure it matches before I clip it or put a straight pin in place. And you already know what your next step is without me even telling you. You have some sewing to do. So, as I mentioned again, if you are a machine sewer, you can totally do this on your sewing machine. But if not, you will start and sew your way around this. And you're going to leave the top open. I'll show you what I mean. So with it all pinned in place, what you're going to do is you're going to sew it just like a huge pouch. You're going to start from one side. This is my open side up here where my pockets are. My pockets are down here. So you're going to sew all the way down. You're going to turn, come down, come up, and stop here. So this is going to be your opening. Where your opening is the top of your caddy. There's no pockets here. This end where you have your pockets sandwiched in, that's going to be closed. All right, so we're going to sew all around. If you're hand sewing 5 or 6 stitches per inch, and then you're going to flip it through from the top. My Bed Caddy is sewn on the wrong side, and I've trimmed my corners like we always did to our pillows and pouches. And I'm going to reach in and take out this pin before I turn it right side out because I don't want it to scratch me. Ouch, I think it already got me. As you can see by the condition of my hands, I do kind of hurt myself and get into these little accidents, but if I'm a bit more careful, maybe they wouldn't happen. Anyway, I'm turning it right side out, and you can use your dull scissors or shears to poke out the corners, or even your chopstick. I'm going to use my dull shears. These are my dull ones. When I press the tip, they don't poke or pinch me, so I know that that's good. And I'm going to poke out these corners. This is looking nice. Okay. Poke out this one. And it's looking like this Bed Caddy has come together. Now, the best thing to do at this point is to iron it. And I'm going to show you how to iron and press it flat and how to close the top. And you do not have to do a blind stitch here. Let me show you. So when you press, make sure that your seams are pushed out all the way. So you may want to slip your hand in and kind of make sure your seams are pressed out on all sides or edges of this caddy. And then you're going to use pressing motion. So you're not going to glide the iron, you're going to actually press and shoot with steam. And it gives it a nice clean finish. Let me show you this end here. And it does make a beautiful difference. It looks store-bought. I mean, how cool is this thing? I love it. You're going to get so much use out of it. And instead of, you know, leaving stuff on the floor when you're about to fall asleep or whatever the deal is in your bedroom, it is going to keep it nice and tidy. Even if you have a little space in your bedroom, this is perfect. So on the top, you are going to fold this in. This is your opening where you turned it right side out. You're going to fold it in. Okay, just a little, not too much. About the same amount. Like maybe I'd say 1/2 inch about. And you're going to press it in place. And then of course you already know that you're going to have to sew right across. And this is the area that slips under your mattress. I made it extra long. I believe when you see the store-bought ones of these, they're not as long, but I figured the longer it is, the stronger hold it will have in between your mattress. And then it's not going to matter if you make your caddy pretty heavy, because the hold will keep it in place. Okay, so as you fold, give it a good press. Don't leave it too long. I took a chance there, but I knew it wasn't going to burn because I'm used to working with this fabric. And I'm going to sew it across, which you don't need to see because you know exactly what that's going to look like. And my caddy is done. So you can decide if you love accessories and you want to accessorize. Again, maybe yours is a pattern. Maybe yours, this is a solid color and each pocket is a different pattern. Or, you know, guys, you can even put like the flowers that we've sewn on here. You could do smaller yo-yos. You could really decorate this. Again, I wanted to keep mine plain because my comforter at the moment is happy and busy and colorful. So I wanted something plain. I hope you enjoy this and you get a lot of use out of it.